Hey guys, just gonna quickly butt in here right now before the video starts to say Mirror Angel's Paradise out now on Steam. If you like Enter the Gungeon, Nuclear Throne, Monolith, Realm of the Mad God, and other such video games, then you should definitely give it a try. It has a free demo as well. Cool. Good morning guys. It's another day that we've been given to work on our project. Isn't that exciting? I'm excited. Let's get to business. Yesterday we drew a bunch of characters. We've got quite the cast now, quite the cast of heroes. I think today what we're going to be doing is making a fresh project, loading these guys in, put our map in, put our dudes in, do a little programming. Oh, I'm going to get started right now. My weapon of choice, of course, is Game Maker Studio 1.4, not the newest 2 release. I haven't given that a fair shake yet. First of all, because it costs quite a lot of money. For having the previous Studio 1 license, you get a bit of a discount moving over, I think, but it still costs quite a lot, and I haven't seen anything from it that makes me want to jump to it yet. I'm sure I will eventually as they keep supporting it, but we're gonna stick to our guns for this project. I know that Studio 1 can do the job, so that's what we're gonna do. Let's crack it open. New project. And we'll name the project Saleable J from scratch, because that's what we're doing. Woohoo! Here it is, man. Fresh project. We got nothing in our folders yet. Clean slate. Enjoy it while it lasts, because every project I work on gets extremely bloated later on, and then it becomes extremely painful to work with. But it won't happen this time, because we're learned programmers and we take good control of our source. Okay, but before we do anything, I've got to go back to Photoshop, and I have to save out these files so I can grab them in Game Maker, and that includes the level. I'll do the level first. So to do the level, I'm going to turn off my object layer. I didn't do a very good job layering this stuff actually, so a lot of my objects aren't even on the object layer. Why do I have to make this so hard for myself? Okay, well, I'll have to spend 5 minutes fixing. I just want to, anything that's interactable or things that are going to move around, of course, I want to separate them out, because if it requires functionality, then we're going to have to put them in as objects in our project. Okay, I think this looks alright. Technically you interact with the stairs, but I don't think they're going to be moving around very much, so I'll just keep it there. Another folder that I'll call out. This is just where all my Photoshop renders, I'll put them in. I'll try and be organized, so I'll do another folder and I'll do call it background. Save it as a ping. Next I'm going to render out, I'm going to copy out the people. There's a few different ways you can go about this, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to make a document that's this wide. Having this selection area should do is, if I make a new project, nope, it does not. Well, never mind me. Maybe I have to copy it. If I copy the background and have a square that big. Cool, yeah, okay. First try. I'm gonna pack all these dudes into it. Okay, cool, we got a little character sheet here. That's neato in my books. Let's make a new folder for him. Characters. Back to my source. So the reason I did that was I'm gonna make a sprite for all of them. So the first one, if it's a sprite, I put SPR. If it's an object, I do OBJ. It just makes it easier for me when I'm referencing them in code to separate them out. And the way I'm gonna get this guy is I'm gonna go edit, and I can do file, create from strip. And so what I do is I'm going to navigate to folder, characters, and this is how we're going to load them in. Each frame is 16 by 16. You can see there's like, it's really hard to see, and I can't zoom this in, but there's a really faint square around where it's going to cut. Number of images, there's 6 frames in total, and there's 3 per row. And it's extremely hard to see, but I think that's correct. So what I've told it is, for the first 2 rows, take the 3 images from the top. There's no offset or anything, because this is the class that's in the top left. So I can go okay, and that is not correct, man. Alright, he does have a square around him. Oh, row is That way. Alright, never mind. I lied. Now that should do it. Hey, we did it first try as well. Damn. So there. That chopped it up. That's a lot quicker than it would have been to copy the frames in one by one. And that's the format we're going to use for the classes. Cool. I've got to repeat this for all the other classes, so give me one moment. Okay, all our sprites in, so I'll grab the background next. This one's going to be pretty straightforward. I'll just create a new background, I'll load it from file. There's our background in all its glory. Although I have some palette information snuck in. I'm on it. Oh, I'm on it. There it is. Get out of here. Oh, good, perfect. No one saw anything. Cool. Next up, we create a room. A room. It's like a scene from Unity, I guess. It's like it holds a collection of objects in it, and that's your game. And you can only be in one room at a time. So the most important thing to do first of all is to change the speed from 30 to 60 because it's quite easy to miss, but that speed is literally the frames per second that the game is going to aim to get. And the next thing, I'm going to go to background and you just select the background I've got. Let's just go ahead, object player. We'll give it a sprite. Let's make him a knight. I'm going to set his depth to -1. Depth controls the order at which images are drawn. So, yeah, by default, it's you can see I've been toggling this grid on and off. This grid is more than just visual; it snaps. Whoa! That's our game. Look at that first run. Looks good to me. That dude's having a little trouble orienting himself in this strange new world. Confusion and the dread are starting to get to him. He seems to be rotating insanely fast. I'd hazard a guess that he's rotating at 60 frames per second, but I don't know. Yeah, so for this to even look like anything, we need to do a little bit more work. So I'm going to go ahead, close out. Well, let's pick our fights first. So the first thing I'm going to do, I'm going to stop him rotating completely, and I'm going to make it so that the camera actually centers on him and isn't just showing everything in the whole room. So let's do that. We can do those things without coding for the most part. Object player, do create event, which means this code is run once on the creation of the object, and all objects are created in the scene if they are placed in the scene. It simply changes image speed to 0, and then back in our room I'm going to go to views, enable the use of views. This is where we can kind of give more sophisticated rules to the camera. Visible when room starts, and you can see immediately as I did that it created this square here, and what this is denoting is that the view in room right here is going to be of these dimensions, which actually exceeds the size of the room. Let's say a good start would be to match it with our room size, so you can see if I do that, then that white line is perfect in the room, which means if we were to run it now there would actually be no change from when we ran it before, because this is pretty much how it was set. If you don't give it your own rules for the views, then it just matches the view to the whole background. We don't want the view dimensions to match the size of the room though, because our camera is actually of a much lower resolution. I'm gonna open up screen 3. Yeah, our view inside is actually much smaller than the room dimension, so it's only 384 by 216. So let's go to that. 384 216. Yeah, much smaller. What we can also do is, if there are objects in the scene, we can go object following and set it to player. Even though it hasn't shown any change where the view is positioned, when the game runs, every frame it will attempt to anchor it onto the object that we've chosen. So we haven't done any coding yet, we're just fiddling around with the project settings to get what we want. I'm going to run it again, and we're going to prepare for equal disappointment. Boom. Ouch. That does not look good at all. At least he's not rotating anymore. He's somewhat relaxed, which is good. But man, where do we start with the problems? First of all, the view didn't even align to him, which is confusing. I didn't expect that. Or it aligned somewhat to him, but yeah, we've got all this terrible blurring. Yuck. Let's close that. That's disgusting. That's icky. Okay, global game settings. Let's change our display now. But what I was really looking for here was to go to graphical, and I want to get rid of interpolate colors between pixels, because what that attempts to do is when there's funky, we want to maintain the very rigid and separated square pixels like this. We don't want it to attempt to blur that kind of stuff. If our game was very high resolution, we'd probably want that, but in this case we do not. But I'm going to go to general, and I'm going to check use fast collision system, having zero idea of what this actually does, but it sounds like I'd rather a fast collision system than a slow collision system. So anyway, another thing that happened is the window size was still different from the view. It didn't change the window to match the view size per se, which we're going to fix right now. It actually is determined by port on the screen. This has turned into a bit of a tutorial, but this stuff is quite easy to show and talk about, rather than later on when I start doing big chunks of coding, I won't be able to go through every single thing that I do. But okay, well, this looks better. It looks quite small. You can see it's not blurred at all. Views, we're going to put the values in. We're going to put these values in, which are exactly 4 times on both constraints. And then we should get a much bigger window that maintains its aspect ratio. Boom, that's what we got. This looks like more of an actual game window. And this video is probably going to be a very long one. Oh, maybe I'll make more than one video today. Cool, I'll be back. Goodbye.